Okay, let's do a clap. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, goodness me.
We did it. We made it.
We're here. We're doing it. We're
Mhm,
queer.
mhm.
It's Pride Month. Hey,
It
girl.
sure is.
Hey.
It
Oh,
sure
what is
is.
this? What is this? Wet. What is it called? Eyeshadow you got on. Your eyes look wet.
They do? It's a sparkle.
Oh, see, from the camera's giving wet, which is appropriate because of, we're talking about sharks.
Okay. Well, in that same vein, I thought it could be a fun conversation to just do our little cold open with. Who is the shark in your life?
Goodness, I would say you're pretty sharky.
Really?
Let's describe shark. Do you mean like in terms of like social or like really go? I think of shark as like a go getter in life and like.
Oh, getter. No, I don't think of shark as go getter. I think of shark as like cutthroat. Like they just fucking go for it. They don't mince words. They are just okay. Let me give you my example. My shark is Kara, my manager.
Kara exactly is I thought about Kara, but I was like, she's not mine to actually.
She is my shark. I will never forget the day I told Kara I was getting a divorce. We went to lunch and I was really distraught and I started crying. And Kara put her hand on my hand and she said, "This will make a really good TV show." And I was like, I'm crying. But you know what? You know what we did? We sold a TV show.
We sold a TV show. So listen, sometimes you need a shark. I guess the shark in my life would be insert any gay. No, my friend Charles. I think Charles is a shark.
Oh yes,
Charles is a
shark.
Charles
will cut you down.
Charles will cut you down so quick and gather your ass really quickly. And even when she's wrong, like even when he is wrong, like dead, because he and I butt heads a lot. Because I think I know everything, and I'll be like, like factually, like Googleably, however you say that.
It's as Googleably is not a word, but you'll let him know wrong.
I will let him know that I just made it up. That's what I would let him know. Yeah, but he's a shark. He also just like knows things, he does know things about like cars and how much he's an architect, so like how much square footage and stuff like that. So I also credit that knowledge that I don't have. Like I trust him implicitly in some ways.
It's not just the cutthroat of it all, is that he does know a lot of shit. And
it's like Kara. Like Kara's an authority on something, right? She's like helping. She's like your go-between. So you can't rely on them. It's like, you know what it is? Like we are the younger fish that like, or the smaller fish in the food chain that go up and like eat off of the shark's meat.
We sit on the back and we eat the little the little plankton.
Yeah, we're little crustaceans.
Yes, I get it, but I don't want to be a crustacean.
I mean, you're a little pointy sometimes. Ooh, wait, no.
Listen. Wait.
I hate you for that.
Let me fix it.
Welcome back to Let Me Fix It, the podcast that says life's a car crash, so break out the jaws of life. I'm DeLon Grant. I'm an actor, a singer, a photographer, a writer, and an educator.
And I'm Francesca Ramsey. I'm an actress, a writer, a producer, and graphic designer. In class, you know we love games here on this podcast. So, DeLon, I thought we would kick off today's episode with a game that I'm calling Sharktacular Factacular. How did I do?
It is so dumb.
Can I tell you, I made like a list of shark puns and I was like, what is the best shark name for this game? And like the look on your face, you were just, Thank you.
But I mean, the thing is, we always give one another credit for the attempt. But Sharktacular Factacular is, it's doing something.
Okay, whatever. Listen, moving on. I have 3 shark facts for you, and you will have to answer via multiple choice. And as usual, class, please feel free to play along at home. Are you ready, DeLon?
I'm ready, but I don't know nothing about no damn shark. Like I get them confused with dolphins all the time, so I get a lot of this shit wrong.
Well, okay, yeah, all right.
Well,
Well,
dolphins, like I think sharks sleep with half their brain, and I
yeah,
think
they don't.
dolphins do
They are
too.
dolphins are nice and sharks are not.
You know what
So,
I did find out? Sharks are fish and dolphins are mammals.
oh, I
Dolphins are
don't
not
think.
considered fish.
Well, just so you know, that's not going to help you on the quiz because that's not on here. Okay.
Okay.
First question. We all know that humans have five senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. But sharks have eight senses. They have the same five that we do, plus three extra. Sharks' three extra senses are electrosenses, magnetoreception, and blank. Okay, fill in the blank. A, two stomachs. B, fat growth. C, distant touch. Or D, bitch better have my money.
Distant touch sounds like a me too.
Yeah, is it consensual?
Right. It's giving Harvey Weinstein. I'm gonna say the two stomachs, but that's giving a little cow to me. Two stomachs?
Incorrect. Two stomachs is bees. Bees have a stomach for honey that they just keep it in like a little pouch, and then they have a stomach for actually eating. The answer is C, distant touch. Sharks can feel even the faintest of movements and
In the
vibrations in the
water.
water. They can feel a fish up to 328 feet away.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. That's how they come for your ass. That's how they get you. They sneak up on you because they can feel you over their fucking fin.
I wish I had electrosense for money. That's how
I know. So that was when I put bitch better have my money. That's a sense I wish I had. I wish I could just think that and then my money would come into hand. All right, next question. The show Shark Tank features different entrepreneurs pitching their businesses. The show Shark Tank features different entrepreneurs pitching their business ideas to a panel of sharks who then decide if they want to invest in the business or not. But due to the show's popularity, companies have started lying about being on the show. Now, which one of the following brands was not seen on Shark Tank? Was it A, Scrub Daddy, the temperature controlled smiling face sponge? B, the Pie Phone. This edible smartphone case comes in 4 delicious pie flavors. C, the Squatty Potty. The number one way to go number 2. This toilet stool helps you poop better. Or D, the Skinny Mirror. Like the name suggests, this mirror shows you as thinner than you are. Which one was not seen on Shark Tank?
I'm gonna say this: the dumbass gummy phone. That was really stupid. That was a dumb invention. Was that seen on Shark Tank?
No, you're right. I made that one up. The pie phone.
Oh.
I wanted to make a joke about pie, like
Wait,
the number.
wait, sorry. I just read into your thing. Oh, that dumbass pie phone. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, it was dumb. I made it up.
Sorry.
Oh,
Rose,
you
keep
paused
going.
for a second. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, side note, how many times has the Squatty Potty been mentioned on this show? And can Squatty Potty please sponsor? Let me
Yo,
fix
Squatty
it.
Potty, come on with it. Because Fran and I talk about this all the time. I talked about my yoga blocks, didn't I, on the pod
I mean,
before?
I mean, if we're gonna get Squatty Potty as a sponsor, you got to stop using the yoga blocks. But I
know.
support you. I affirm you.
Squatty,
Do what you
I'm
got
gonna
to
use
do.
yoga blocks until you send us a contract. Okay.
Yes, please do. We're ready. Hit up Acast. Okay, our final question for Sharktacular, Factacular, is actually a quote. In the world of sitcom TV, jumping the shark signals the beginning of the end, the moment after which a television show has passed its prime. Whatever made the show special is now increasingly hard to capture. The problem is you don't know it at the time. You always feel you can rekindle the magic. This is a quote from Will Smith's memoir, Will, which is a little bit of foreshadowing. Which classic sitcom is credited with coining the phrase jumping the shark? Is it A, Happy Days, B, Gilligan's Island, C, Living Single, or D, The Love Boat?
Not the Love Boat. It's Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday,
Tuesday,
Wednesday, happy days.
days.
Great
Call-
theme song, right?
What a great theme song. And I tried to throw you for a loop by throwing Gilligan's Island in there and the Love Boat because I was like, sharks, water. But you are correct. Delon, do you want to explain your answer to the class? Show your work a little bit, as they say.
Okay, this is an
Mm-hmm.
essay question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the phrase alludes to an episode on Happy Days class, which aired way back in 1977. In the episode, Fonzie, played by Harry Winkler, literally jumps over a shark on water skis. The episode is ridiculous and was seen as such a misfire by the show's writers that Jump the Shark became shorthand for the show. That Jump the Shark became shorthand for show.
Your show has gone off the rail. I
Okay,
mean, you can put it in your own words
yeah.
if it's clunky.
That the episode was the episode is ridiculous and was seen as such a misfire by the show's writers that Jump the Shark became shorthand for your show has gone off the rails.
You are correct. And in honor of you getting the answer correct and showing your work with that essay question, we are going to devote this entire episode to jumping the shark. And Delon, I'm going to give you some extra pops because you need it. And Delon, I'm going to give you some extra. Why? My mouth and my brain.
Sometimes, listen,
The brain hole is they're just.
it just gulps and swallows your whole brain.
I'm tired. I don't know what I'm doing. Delon, I was trying to say that you pitched this topic, aka the test was a little rigged, because we were brainstorming classic TV episodes to review instead of an entire because we were brainstorming TV episodes to review instead of an entire series or a movie, and then the pitch came through. Delon, tell us how you got there.
Listen, it just popped out the brain hole, you know?
Some brain holes work. I don't know about yours.
Okay. It was early in the morning and the brain hole was popping. What can I say? I'm a genius. Like, it just felt perfect for the episode. It just felt like a perfect episode because it was infamous and bad. And it came from this. It just felt like a perfect episode because it was so infamously bad and it became such a TV trope and so well known. And it really put like a specific name on the thing that happens in TV. And since so many shows have started out so strong and out of nowhere just jumped the shark, it just seemed like it was appropriate. But who better than us to fix it, right, friend?
Yeah.
Because, that's what we do. So this week, we're going to dig into the infamous Happy Days episode, and then we're going to look back on where some of our favorite TV shows went south, and then, as usual, we will pitch how we would fix it. So, friends, let's dive in. This is Jumping the Shark. Let me fix it.
Again.
I don't know why that
What is wrong with us today?
Oh, God. Just delirious. So, to understand this trope, we got to start with the show that spawned it all, Happy Days. Happy Days premiered on ABC in 1974, starring a young Ron Howard, who was already a star by this point, and starring a young Ron Howard, who was a teenager at this point, really already famous, and Harry Winkler. And Harry Winkler played the Fonz. So the show was a sitcom about American life in the 1950s. It's about like the audience was the great generation, like those people who, after World War II, right? It
was a very idealized version of the 50s because racism, I don't know her.
Didn't exist. It's just milkshakes and poodle skirts.
Exactly. Back of the bus, where? Let's do the sock hop.
Which is not unlike today. So the show aired for 10 years with 255 episodes and is considered one of the most successful sitcoms of the 1970s, and some might argue of all time.
I also want to point out Harry Winkler, if you know Hair, you might know him from Barry. Harry, Barry, say that 5 times fast. Did you watch that show?
I did watch. I watched the first season. I also met Harry Winkler.
Really?
Yeah, when I was doing Come From Away on Broadway,
Okay.
he
Yes.
came to see the show. The sweetest man in the world.
He
He sent
honestly,
us flowers and a note after. So sweet.
he exudes sweet energy. And I didn't finish watching Barry. Everyone says that the finale, the season finale, was incredible, but those
Mm.
first two seasons are great. He's so talented. And so that's a kind of fun connection. Happy Days is also known as the show that spawned a million spinoffs. I mean, actually seven, but it's still a lot. Did you
This was
know this, Talon?
crazy. No, this was just insane.
Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, Joni Loves Chachi. What's with the two name thing, guys? Like
Well,
this is
what you know what TV has always done this though. One thing works and they
one
can't
thing.
deviate.
One thing works. Out of the blue, I don't know that one. Blansky's Beauties, the Fonz and the Happy Days gang, which was animated, and
Mm.
then Laverne and Shirley with the Fonz, which was also animated. Okay?
Very interesting. That's really, really. I mean, shows don't really do this anymore. Which
No.
I think. Speaking of which, we've been talking about doing a Lemme episode. Speaking of which, we have been talking about doing a spin-offs Let Me Fix It episode
Oh yeah.
forever. And class,
We
I know
need
we
it.
say we should do an episode about that a
But
lot.
it was we when we pitched the show,
Yes.
spin-offs was I think we called it like spin me round or something like that, because they're not spinning anymore. We are standing still.
You're
The
right.
feet need to be moving. Hollywood, give us a spin-off.
Come on. I mean, you love to regurgitate stuff. So like you spin me right round, baby.
I know it
Um
doesn't really happen that often.
so the infamous shark jump happened in season 5, Hollywood Part 3. The crew goes to LA and Fonz is challenged to wear swim trunks with his signature leather jacket and jump over a shark in a tank. If that doesn't make any sense, of course it doesn't, because the stunt was basically to show off Harry Winkler's skiing skills. Winkler was so good as a teen, he taught water skiing lessons at a summer camp.
Okay, now here is a not so fun fact. Harry didn't even want to do the fucking ski jump. We have been talking about jumping the shark from the day he did it till now. He was actually pressured into it because of his dad. In a 2019 interview on NPR, Harry Winkler said, "Every day for years, tell Gary Marshall that you water ski." "Dad, I don't think I'm going to do that." "No, no, no. Tell him you water ski. It's very important." "I finally tell Jerry, my father wants you to know I water ski." So Winkler actually did all of the water skiing for the scene in the show, except for the actual jump, which is like, again, ironic. Like, y'all did all of this.
I mean, I guess he's not a stunt man, so like whatever,
It
but
just is, it's like, in hindsight is 2020, of course, but it's like we are just doing this weird ass story because you have this skill, not because it's right for the episode. Okay.
well, I think we'll continue to talk about this as we go on through this episode, but because it happened in season 5, it just feels like
Hmm.
sometimes they're like milking a cow.
Yes.
They just don't
Yes.
know where to go. So like, what else can we do? Throwing shit on the wall to see what sticks.
Literally. And that's kind of like what is so genius about turning jumping the shark into this
Mm.
idiom. Because, again, in hindsight, the episode was just like a total departure from what Happy Days was meant to be, because the show's original premise was a show about American life in the 50s. And then it became the Fonzie show, with
Mm.
every episode centered on him being more and more cool, to the point that he was just like a big fucking idiot. Like, he's like, you want me to jump over a shark? Okay. Like, any normal person would be like, what the fuck are you asking me to do?
It's giving the house that Urkel built, right? Like a character
Yeah.
that was a sub character and then became the main character because people
Ex-
just really liked them.
exactly. And to the same point of like the Urkel thing, Urkel wasn't really strong enough to carry a show. He was
No.
one dimensional. And similarly with Fonz, he was one dimensional. He did not have a personality outside of being cool. So
Mm.
when the show was later canceled a few years later, after that shark jump in 1984, most agreed that Happy Days had really gone out pretty bad as a former shell of its 1950s American nostalgia self.
Mm.
So, while Happy Days aired in while the Happy Days episode aired in 1970, Factoid. While the Jump the Shark episode happened in 1977, Jump the Shark did not officially enter the lexicon until 1985 after the show had been canceled. That's because it wasn't until after the show ended that anybody realized what a turning point that episode was. As TV Tropes puts it, it's difficult to spot a shark hurdle in real time. Ooh, okay. So Jump the Shark was coined by comedy writer John Hine and his roommate Sean Connolly while they were attending the University of Michigan.
Go Blue.
Now, come on. What
Cut the
are the
connection. Come on now.
Okay, class, you know where Delon and I went to school. I didn't finish, but I still owe university.
She still got the loans.
I still owe you Vince some money. So John Hine later went on to be a writer and producer for Howard Stern. In 1997, he created the website jumptheshark.com, where he reviewed 200 TV shows, including where they each jumped the shark. The site became super popular. Oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with my brain today? The site became super popular and later included user submitted shark jump moments. And in 2006, Heinz sold the company for over $1 million. God damn.
Man.
Where is my jump the shark?
Yo, so where's my gimmick? Damn, that I can sell for a cool Milo.
Just talking shit about TV shows. He got $1 million?
Yo. Well, you know what? I'm claiming it for Let Me Fix It.
Let's do it.
Ooh. So another factoid, jumptheshark.com now goes to tvguide.com when you put it into Google's, which on one hand, like, wow, major get, love that for you, but kind of sad for the original is gone because it's like no longer niche,
I know. Have you used the site called Wayback Machine?
Oh, it's an actual site. Class. I thought she was making this up in the
No.
doc.
Okay, there is a site called Wayback Machine where you can put in a website and you can go back to basically there's like a thing that crawls the internet and saves a snapshot of the internet at certain dates. And you can see the website throughout the years. So I went back and I looked up what Jump the Shark looked like in 2012, I guess before it got sold. And I put the logo in here. I'm such a graphic design nerd. I think this logo is so cute. Jump the is on top of a shark's head, and the shark's head is the A in shark. Come on.
The shark looks like a ship, but the
shark is a little stylized. The water doesn't look. It's supposed to be his mouth, but and he's got like a nose. Sharks don't have noses. I don't know.
Right? The two nostrils are.
But if you've never used Wayback Machine, it's very cool. It's like a little time machine.
I'm downloading that. Also, like the internet. It will always be on the internet, class. It never goes away. So really, really watch what you do with it.
Someone said this, and I don't know who it was. They said the internet is written in permanent ink. And it's ominous, but it's real.
Truly.
So let's talk about some unforgettable Jump the Shark moments. First up, there's a subcategory jump, same character, different actor, aka a new actor replaces someone on the show. Sometimes they acknowledge it or they just pretend that nothing happened. Both are very cringe and kind of signal that the show is on a downswing. We hinted at this one with the Will Smith quote, Fresh Prince. Dark-skinned Aunt Viv versus light-skinned Aunt Viv.
This was tectonic. This was tectonic when we were going.
Terrible.
And they tried not to say any. Not
they
tried.
Said nothing.
They didn't say anything. So, class, Janet Hubert played Aunt Viv for 3 seasons, and then was replaced for the final 3 seasons by Daphne Maxwell Reid. Hubert Witten is her name now. Was pissed and spent basically 26 years letting everyone know, including the tabloids and social media, how pissed she was. She essentially blamed Will Smith for killing her career. The reasons for her firing aren't really clear. Some reports allege that it was due to her getting pregnant, while Will said it had to do with differing personalities. I'm glad you brought this one up because it is really, this would not fly today.
No.
Like with social media, with the internet, replacing somebody who was the mother of the family, the matriarch who we all loved and knew and grew up with, without saying anything, we would be pissed. The internet would
Without
blow
saying
up.
anything, and also replacing her with a light-skinned woman. And like,
Yeah.
Daphne, I don't know you. I'm sure you are a nice lady. This is a shitty position to be in. A check is
Right.
a check. She's happy to get a
Girl.
job, but the optics are bad because even the energy of dark-skinned Aunt Viv was so different from light-skinned Aunt Viv. It
Yeah.
was almost like dark-skinned Aunt Viv was like more like Janet Hubert's characterization was a little more feisty and
Yeah.
a little more, she didn't take any shit. And she was always like, she was like putting her foot down and like
Yeah.
stomping and whatever. And light skin Aunt Viv was like, Will, she was so
Well,
nice.
Well, and can you imagine like stepping into that role knowing the other woman was fired? You're like, I don't want to
Yeah.
do anything right to like jeopardize the gig.
Right.
Also, to your point about the optics, when you look at the family, not that that should matter because like people come out how they come out, right? There are
Yeah.
albino people, there are people who are like very dark skinned in a light
Hmm.
family. Like you never know how the genetics work out. But if you're looking at you're casting a show and you're taking one of the only dark skinned people of like
Of
the three
course.
dark skinned people and you're adding another light skinned person and it's this affluent family, right? It just like feels
Yeah.
weird.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. And it's also to your point about like looking at, yes, black families come in all different shades. That is true.
right.
But when you look at TV, they
Talk about it.
love putting two black parents with a bunch of mixed race children.
They sure
And
do.
it's like, and they also really it seems rare that they will let a dark skinned woman be on TV. Men can be every color of the rainbow,
Oh
but
yeah.
like women, they prefer mixed race or light skinned black women. And again, you're right. This would not have flown today. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I'm sure people made a stink, but the power of social media, for better or for worse, is that we get to say when we don't like
Well,
something.
it's democratizing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we also we have a forum, a
Yes.
collective large forum where audiences and where the populace can go,
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend,
So
will.
how would we fix it?
Okay, so I don't know that there isn't necessarily a direct fix for this. I really feel like Will kind of handled it internally, like that's what
Mm.
he wanted to do. The optics of it, I think I don't know what season this was, but it was either that or like
And the
Kill
show.
Aunt Viv. I
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
know.
it's a comedy. We have one crying episode with Will and his dad, and that's
Right,
it.
right. Like I'm not sure how else to fix this. Just because like is it a jump the shark moment even like it's I think it from then on it went kind of downhill, but
Yeah,
if Will's the star, so maybe it was that like we needed her in the background, like you said, she was Daphne's
yeah. I
characterization was a
mean,
little dim.
here's the thing. I similarly don't have a fix for it, but I feel like luckily Will and the cast fixed things because they made up with her and they invited Janet to the Fresh Prince reunion in 2020. They sat down for the first time since she had been fired. They did a bunch of cute photos together. Dark skin Viv, light skin Aunt Viv. They're all hugging Will. It was, also very bittersweet because Uncle Phil, actor James Avery, wasn't there as he passed away. So again, they never spilled the tea. I think that they kind of gave like a standard we're moving forward kind of
Yeah,
answer.
yeah.
But I will say I'm glad that they got some sort of closure. And after the reunion, Janet posted on Instagram that she was getting a lot of different acting offers because of the special,
Mm.
including she played Jessica Williams' mom on the show Love Life on HBO, which was really cool to see her do that. So I feel like they retroactively fixed it. It took a long
Yeah,
time, but at
they
least
made
they
it
did.
right.
Yeah, they made it right.
They try to make it right. So next up in our Shark Jumping Hall of Fame is Heroes. So the show Heroes was on in the early aughts.
Hmm.
It was an NBC drama about ordinary people that discover that they have superpowers. When it premiered in 2006, it quickly took off, becoming one of the most popular shows of the year. Season 2 premiered with the highest numbers in the series run, which was 17 million by that point. But as the season went on, viewership took a nosedive, and very slowly by comparison, and
Oh,
to nosedive,
sorry. It was like as the season.
very slowly. Yeah, and so but as the season went on, it just took a nosedive and did not compare to season one.
Yeah.
I watched Heroes because
I loved season one.
You remember the story, Fran. When I first moved to New York class in 2006 after undergrad, I had an internship at a talent agency.
Oh,
And
yeah.
one of my jobs was to make copies of contracts. And Hayden Panettiere was a
A
client at
client.
this agency.
Yeah.
And her contract for Heroes came across my desk and it said $35,000 an episode, 10 episodes a
Child.
season. And I was
Child.
making $10 an hour in New York City. And I was like, what am I fucking doing? What is this show? So I ran home to watch it.
I mean, this show is like so up my alley because I love like X-Men.
Oh,
I
God.
think we
Yes. Fantasy. Yes.
fantasy, but it was so grounded in reality. And I loved Hayden Panettiere's character. She's the cheerleader who can't die. You know, she's in the pyramid and
Save the
she
cheerleader, save the
saved.
world.
Oh my God. Like, I mean, just all, it was so electric.
Yeah.
And then season 2 just fucking sucked. It was like this huge buildup for then a wet fart of a season. It was so slow.
It really
And
was.
there was just, you know, I think what was interesting is they had this very diverse cast of real
Mm-hmm.
people. And
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that about it, but it hurt the show in later seasons because there was just too many fucking people.
Well, and my we'll get to the fix here in a second, but I think one of the big things that like was successful about season 1 is that they really had the nugget save the cheerleader, save the world, right? All these people are discovering their powers, and so it
Right.
like they could dangle the carrot in front of us for so long, and
Right.
we were waiting for it. We were waiting for something to happen,
Yes.
and like some shit happened. Season 2, they try to do the same thing, and we're like, no, 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 no. You have to have more happen. You know, now that they have powers,
Yeah.
like let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. They have powers. Now what? Like
Yes.
they didn't introduce some other opposing force, and we're kind of jumping a little ahead here, but in terms of thinking about a fix, like maybe there needed to be like some bad guys, you know, or what I love about X-Men in like the early comic book world is they kind of become the outcast with like law enforcement. Like they're
Yeah.
seen as bad guys, but they're actually good guys. And
Right.
it's, you know, it's that kind of they're trying to like make a commentary on race or whatever.
Well, all things use race as, but they can't talk about race, so they make
Right.
it make you green, or you make
Exactly.
you know you have powers.
Now you care about race because they're white. What if
Totally.
racism happened to white people? Yeah, I mean, I get that, but like, if you're gonna do that, then do that. Like, what
Yeah.
happens? That's why a show that's kind of in the same vein is The Boys, and you like that show, right?
I love The Boys. I
The
think that is
Boys
really a
goes
good
there.
show.
Like the
Yeah, it
Boys
does.
fucking goes there. They're like, we're not just gonna skirt around or like wink at, you know, what we're trying to say here. We're gonna fucking go for it. Like these people
Yeah.
have powers. They are abusing them. They are becoming
They're
celebrities.
human. They're
Exact.
very human. And the reason like the anti-hero wants to take down the boys is because of vengeance, which is a
Mhm.
very human, especially with a superhero show. It's a very
Yeah.
human trait. Heroes trudged along for 2 more seasons before being canceled because of low viewership, as we're beginning to talk about. Just 4 million people watched the finale of season 2 compared to almost 7 million who tuned in for the season 2 premiere. Fran, other than what we were just discussing, do you have a fix for
Yeah,
Heroes?
I mean, like I hinted at, there was just too many fucking people in season 1. And I think what they should have done is looked at the cheerleader, clearly was like the most popular person.
Mhm.
They should have zeroed in on who was the most interesting instead of examining everyone and really focus that way. And
Yeah.
even if they had done something kind of like almost miniseries like where like one episode is devoted to one person and then like they
Mm.
all kind of connect by the end could be really interesting if they
Mm.
really want to keep this commitment to following all these people, but just focus, trim the fat.
Trim the fat. I agree with you. My fix is very similar. Way too many people. And I think like season 2, had they then started to incorporate more people, right? Then
Mhm.
started to like bleed in other storylines that are connected to the cheerleader, or like I forget the character who went to Japan for part of that season.
He went to
Which
Japan and it's like, what? Leave his ass over there.
Well, and also it was like it wasn't bad that we went to Japan, but like I didn't care about Japan because you never solved the big nugget problem
Right.
in America.
Well, and
You
we also
know?
and it's also the thing of like we didn't really know him. Like
Yeah.
we didn't know that much about him. You know, again, it's so fun watching these people discover their powers, but like what was really interesting about the first season is that their powers create all of these challenges in their real
Mm-hmm.
life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like they're dealing with real problems and they're dealing with like feeling like an outsider and blah blah blah. And then when you send this character to another country, it's just like it just suddenly doesn't feel like everyone not everyone but we understand feeling like an outsider for
Mm-hmm.
sure, but we don't really know enough about this person, and now it's like he's traveling, he's in another country,
He has
he
like a
can't
major storyline. Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like yeah it just they really dropped the it's a bummer because I the premise was just so good.
Well, and they never really materialized as heroes. They were like discovering their powers. And I
Yeah,
guess the Japanese guy, he was Japanese, right?
yeah,
He
I
went to
think
Japan.
so.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like he was kind of like really endearing and was
Hmm.
trying to help people. That was a little bit of connective tissue, but they never really saved the world.
Yeah, they really
Yeah.
didn't. All right, this next one, it really broke my heart. It's House of
Mm,
Cards.
mm,
Now, we can all agree that a few things led to the downfall of the show. It started very strong and then it kind of
mm-hmm.
started to lose its focus, but namely Kevin Spacey, his ass getting exposed for but namely Kevin Spacey's ass getting exposed with over 40 allegations of sexual assault definitely put a damper on the show. Netflix rightfully fired him, but the writers then had to scramble to rewrite the show because they had already filmed 2 episodes of that final season. So they
Wow.
killed him off and they made the 6th season all about his wife Claire, brilliantly played by Robin Wright Penn, taking over the presidency instead. I will admit I kind of liked the final season, but it was messy and uneven and it was just hard to watch. It really felt like the shadow of Kevin Spacey was hanging over the show.
Mm. Yeah, I hear you on that. I only watched the second season
Hmm.
because some of it started to get a little wonky. Again, like the nugget of like Kevin Spacey's character trying to become the president or
Right.
doing all these things to to like thwart democracy was really interesting, and they were compared to Lady Macbeth and Macbeth,
Hmm. Hmm.
which was really interesting to me. And Kevin Spacey, despite the allegations and corroboration of those allegations, brilliant actor. I would
Because he's a
watch.
sociopath, but yeah, sure. You're good at acting when you have no
Listen,
fucking soul.
I feel very attacked because I'm very good at acting. So
No, 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 no. I think, I mean, look, I'm being hyperbolic. I'm sure people, I'm not diagnosing him. Do not,
right.
please don't come for me over that. But I think that there is something to be said, and we'll get into it for a second. But Kevin Spacey is a deeply disturbed man. Do you remember like during the pandemic, he started putting out these Christmas videos where he was sitting by the fire? This is
Are you serious?
after these 40 allegations came out and he lost his job. He started making these videos where he was in character as Frank
Are you
from
serious?
House. It was, dude, so bizarre. And it was like,
Wow.
read the fucking room. Like you're trying to make these cutesy tongue in cheek, and it was very like MAGA Donald Trump coded. He was sitting by the
Mhm.
fire. And it was just, and it was very ominous. And it was just like, what are you doing? He
Too much time
is
on his hands trying to salvage a career, girl.
right, exactly. When like you know you did that shit, lay low, leave us alone, and
Right.
like let people move on. You did the time, you did the crime, do the time, whatever, something.
Go to the basement. We'll see you in 10
Under the
years.
jail, leave
All
us
right.
alone.
Louis C.K. will bring you back when it's a requisite time. He is the person
It
that
just
brings
it
people back
to
after
me
fucking
it
allegations like
just
this.
showed a stunning lack of empathy,
Mm.
especially because like he has since come out and said that some of the allegations were correct, that he did put his hands on people when he should not have.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
like your response is then to like make a video in character. It was just so for Christmas. And then he did it like multiple years. It wasn't just one time. He did it a
Wow.
few times. It was so strange. How
Yeah,
would you fix this?
yeah, I think they kind of attempted to do the best thing that the best fix that they could with
Mm-hmm.
making Claire the president and focusing on Robin Wright Penn and elevating her to kind of, instead of a co-star, the star of the show. I think the missed opportunity was maybe just kind of go running with the spinoff. Now, listen, the stank of Kevin Spacey was on this show and on
Right.
Netflix, so they had to kind of cancel the show. Like, I'm not judging them for that,
Right.
but I think they could have gotten mileage out of Claire spinning off and having her own show if there was any kind of room in there. And I forget, Meacham. Remember Meacham? They're like their body
Mm-hmm.
man, the
Mm-hmm.
bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
I would love like a romantic comedy where like, because they were both fucking Meacham. They're
Oh
both there at
yeah.
a little try thing with
Oh
Meacham.
yeah.
If
Spoiler
Claire gets
alert.
down with Meacham, come
Mm-hmm.
on now, that would have been
Okay.
sexy.
The way that your face and your whole body shifted as soon as you got to that part of the fix. Listen, I
Journey.
love that for you. I will say again, I did enjoy parts of the finale, and Robin Wright Penn is phenomenal. I mean,
Brilliant.
she is just a great actress. I feel it's like a cop out, but when Frank died, the show should have just ended. It should have just ended. I think the problem for me is that the premise of the show is we're seeing it through his eyes. We're hearing his voice. His voiceover is happening throughout the show. He's talking to us. So then
Mhm.
he dies, and now Claire's talking to us. It kind of like it breaks the premise of the show. Like, what does she now have a microphone in her brain? Like,
Well, I
how
mean,
does
I mean, I would push back and like you're putting a lot of logic on like
Yes, I'm
something that's
putting logic on it
illogical.
to say that the show was about him. So, okay, perfect example Sopranos. Sopranos ends, and presumably it's because Tony Soprano is dead, and the show is through Tony Soprano's eyes. So, as soon as the show ends, it's blackout because Tony Soprano is dead and there's no
Yeah, but
more
my point
show.
is like you're saying like the voiceover is the rationale. Like why couldn't we transition to Claire's voiceover? They did. They did.
I mean, they did, but I'm
I
just
think
saying, like, to me, because the show is through his brain, his death should have been like the show is over.
yeah.
Again, I still watched it, and
Yeah.
there were things I enjoyed about it, but I think it was the thing, and I get it, like they're losing a lot of money to do
Yeah,
that.
it's like a lot of jobs and like they've already invested in the show and like, I mean, I don't know how many people work on Game of Thrones or Game of Thrones,
Oh
excuse me,
yeah,
that's the next one. I don't know how many people work on House of Cards, but like
a
that's,
lot.
that's a lot of jobs and I get like wanting to make good on the investment.
Yeah.
Um
Well, the universe has also stepped in because literally today, Delon, as we were about to start recording, this interview dropped with Kevin Spacey on Piers Morgan, crying about not being able to pay his bills and having to sell off one of his many homes because he's in many millions of debt
Not sell off one of
following
his many homes.
no many. Oh well, that sucks for you. So you know what? I love that for him. If he becomes a crying Kevin Spacey meme, I think that is the earth healing itself a little bit.
Listen, she's an actress, so you know what?
Right,
Let me take
exactly.
that back. Let me take that back because I hate when people do that to me. I hate when act like a guy I'm dating is like, are you acting right now? No, I'm a
Mm.
human fucking being with emotions, so I'm taking that
Yeah,
back,
I
Kevin.
mean, I yes, I hear you because it sucks when it happens to you. But I do think he's performing. I do think he's performing. Look, financial troubles are financial troubles. No one is going to feel sorry for you experiencing consequences from your actions. You're gonna go on
Yeah, I mean,
Piers Morgan and cry. What do you want me? You want to start a GoFundMe? What? It's manipulative in my mind.
sure, sure. I'm just saying, like, he's allowed to be human and have human emotions if it's true.
No, that's the good
The
person in you.
I am. I actually said this to another friend at brunch. I was like, I have more empathy than you. So,
Mm.
so next up on our Jaws jump, guys, Game of Thrones. I'm
Mm.
I'm really still not
Oh,
over this
I'm
one. The
still pissed about this
end of
one.
the show was one of the most disappointing, unsatisfying endings to anything I think I've ever experienced.
Hmm.
There are spoilers coming on my end, so I forgive. But
I mean, we've spoiled everything.
we spoiled everything. Yeah.
You didn't see the shark jump. You didn't know that Kevin Spacey died. Sorry.
Right, right. Spoilers, here we come. So I mean, there were so many things that like could have been shark jumps in this show.
Hmm.
Jon Snow dying and being resurrected, right?
Right.
That's not necessarily in the books. It's really like questionable whether he comes back to
Oh
life,
yeah, because
right?
you
Or
read the books.
I did read the books. I did read the
Oh,
books, and I was trying
he's
to
a reader.
remember when we were getting ready to talk about this. But you know, we spent 8 years of my life. Eight
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
8 years of my life. I gave you my life. I want my name, Tina Turner. You 8 years of my life, and the woman that we're following with the dragons and all this shit just
They ruined
burns the
her.
whole kingdom down.
They ruined they like the last season, they just changed. And I will say I think it's telling that they ruined all the female characters in the end. They just had them do stuff that they never would have done.
Yeah. How did they ruin Cersei? How would you say they ruined Cersei?
Well, maybe not
Because
Cersei,
she
but
was the devil.
I felt like Arya did some weird shit. Like suddenly she teamed up with that guy. It was just like she spent all of
Oh.
this time trying to kill this dude, and at the end she was like, "Well, whatever." it
Uh,
just it just felt like, and similarly with Khaleesi, I just felt like, and supposedly it's because George R. Martin hadn't finished the books,
right.
and so like they didn't have source material, which I just think is so interesting that like you guys were handed this huge franchise and then like you couldn't land the plane essentially.
Right.
But it was so frustrating because we had these really long breaks between seasons, so the anticipation was high, and then it was just such a letdown.
I mean, it's just crazy to me. I mean, to your point, like there were really irreverent things that were happening in the TV show that we did not expect up to that point because they
Oh
happened in the
yeah.
books. The Red Wedding, right? Just killing off characters. Like
Hmm.
Ned Stark just dies at
Yeah.
the end of the first season, and I was
Yeah.
like gagged. What? So
Absolutely.
like that stuff I became accustomed to, but the idea that like you're gonna have some character fighting for something so hard and then have her burn it all down, or
Yeah.
that Cersei, the devil, she gets to be with her brother who's also her lover, and they get to like have the castle collapse on them and they just die together. Like it's
Yeah.
something so unsatisfying when I don't know, it just was like,
Or we wait all season for this giant, battle of the living dead, and then we can't see shit. Why was
oh
the screen so
gosh,
goddamn dark?
you are so, listen, I forgot about that. You were so right though.
Oh my God, it was so bad. I remember watching it and being like, Is my TV broken? I'm so confused." And then I went online and the freaking Game of Thrones cinematographer was like, it's not us, it's you. It's your TV. It's like every single person on Earth's TV was broken. Sir.
Get the F out of here. You know what? Like, no, like, don't blame it on me. Do
Mm-mm.
not blame it on
They
me.
were mad sloppy. And remember all like the water bottles that were left in the
The
shots?
Starbucks cup,
The Starbucks
the
cup and a
Starbucks cup
water bottle.
in the dinner scene. But and here's the thing, Fran. They went back and took the Starbucks cup out, so you couldn't just
So
go
you
back in
could have
and
gone
go
back. You could have
and hit a
gone
little
back.
tent.
Exactly. Say, Alexa, turn up the light.
You
Come
know what I mean?
on.
All of the light, yeah, baby. Right? Come
Oh
on.
my God. Our last Jump the Shark is more of an honorable mention because I don't think anyone remembers this. It's another same character, different actor. Delon, do you remember this? Harriet Winslow and Family Matters. They changed the actress in the last season of the show. Did you know this?
I don't remember this. I think like I was like I had after school programs, theater class, like so I was like not watching Family Matters that much in the later seasons.
I mean,
But I
nobody
remember this
was.
actress's face, but I don't know. I don't remember it.
Well, class, shout out to our TGIF episode, The House That Urkel Built, because we did a deep dive into Family Matters. Jo Marie Payton played Harriet on the show Perfect Strangers before they gave her and her husband a spinoff, Family Matters, in 1989. So, hello, spinoff episode. We need one.
Okay. Okay.
But then the final season, they also got a light skin replacement with Miss Judy Ann. Now, if you don't remember this, it's probably because it happened towards the end of the show's run. They moved from ABC to CBS, and Jo Marie was like, "This is my time to peace out. Like, new
Mm,
network, I'm just not doing this." Obviously, it was a smart move because the show and the new light-skinned Harriet only lasted for 8 episodes before being canceled in 1998. So how would we fix this? I mean, again, it seems it's one of those things where like clearly the show needed to end,
Mm.
but it just seems like such a weird choice.
Yeah, as like we talked about, you just mentioned our TGI episode. We talked about the house that Urkel built, the show being centered around Urkel. I think they should have spun it off instead of going to CBS. I think they should have
Yes.
made if Jaleel White was game, they should have had Urkel like invent some new whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
he gets a job at NASA, and then he has to build his way up in
Yes.
NASA, right? And
Okay,
like,
not you pitching it. Urkel goes to NASA.
wait a minute, Jaleel. Do you
Yeah,
have some kids? Maybe
he don't.
Urkel has some kids.
Jaleel does not want to play Urkel
Right,
at
right.
all.
He can never shake that. But it's like a Big Bang Theory meets like an Office or something, right? Like
Yes.
change the whole style of the show maybe a little bit.
Or maybe Urkel goes to college, you know?
Ooh, yeah, right, right. Because
Yeah,
that
and
actually, because then you don't have to change the conceit, right? You can,
mm-hmm.
and maybe even Laura, he follows Laura to college, which is still
He
stalkery
could
and
still be a
abusive.
stalker. Yeah, I mean it's the fish out of water thing, which I think you're
Yeah,
talking about. If he's at NASA or if he's in college, he's someplace where he sticks out like a sore thumb. You are so right. Doing a spinoff would have been so freaking
low hanging
smart,
fruit, right?
especially because like a new network, it's like you need to do something new. You need to
Yes,
say like this is the old, because even like the TGIF of it all, no one's you can't now it's on CBS, it's not TGIF, it's just not the same. Like you need to let
right.
it die.
Absolutely. Factoid friends, factoid class. Family Matters also famously wrote the youngest kid, Judy Winslow, out of the show. The network blamed budget cuts, but it was obvious they didn't know what to do with the character. And once Urkel became the star, they kind of didn't need her. So little Judy got the boot. In season 4, she goes upstairs and never returns. It is so tragic. Meanwhile, the rest of the family acts like she never existed. This is crazy. And the actress, I forget this actress's name,
she
but
had
she
she
went on to
had
have a serious drug addiction.
Yeah, she had a lot of she talked about like that being really hard on her. And we've talked about child stars and child influencers and just the spotlight being really difficult. I can't imagine how hard it was for her to think she had gotten her big break on this show and then they just kill her off.
Well, and you know what? They tried a lot of things, right? So she was like the little kid on the show for a while, but
Mhm.
to the point of this not knowing what to do with her, she was just kind of there. And
Yeah.
then in seasons, I forget what the aunt's name was, but the aunt lived with him, and then the
And
aunt
she
had a
had a little
kid,
kid, and
and
that
then
little
he
kid
was
was tap
cuter.
dancing all over the
He was
He
much
had a little
cuter than
mullet.
her. And so she was just kind of like middle child syndrome, just kind of like being there,
Yeah.
not with not many conflicts and not many
They never
lines.
gave her a storyline. They
They
never
didn't.
had her have her own central challenges or conflicts or storylines. She was
Right.
just there with like a few lines every episode. And again, I can only imagine that she really internalized a lot of that. Like, I'm not good enough,
Right.
they don't want me, whatever. And just,
And you're a kid. How can you not? And I'm like, a lot of these kids go on to like support their families financially in some ways
right?
too. So like when you're making that good money, like it's a lot of pressure.
Oh my God. Well, now that we have reviewed the history of jumping the shark, along with some of our favorite examples, it's time for everyone's favorite segment, the Glow Up, where we give props to those who've turned themselves around without our help. But first, let's take a quick break. And we are back. Delon, would you like to go first?
Why don't you go first?
Oh, okay. Because because class, I ain't got no glow up.
That's why I have to go first, because I ain't got one either,
Okay, so
motherfucker.
here's Delon and I were talking about this the other day. Here's the thing. There is so much writing and so much research that goes into this show that by the time I'm finished writing, I'm like, motherfucker, I'm closing my computer and going to bed. And then the next day, I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't have a glow up.
Yes, yes, all the
Okay,
time.
well, I did something a little different because I was prepared in this respect.
Mhm.
I went and looked at our reviews on iTunes and I thought I would share a review that someone posted about the show because it's very
Great.
cute.
And I have a
And
little
maybe
story to tell after. That's a
Oh,
personal moment.
perfect. Okay, this one is 5 stars from Capri Mom. And it says, apparently I'm in the class and I'm always present.
You better give us a tagline.
Okay, yes. I so enjoy this podcast. Francesca and Delon have such natural chemistry. The topics are always on point, and I usually bust out laughing at least once per episode. Please keep fixing it, y'all. Ah, I mean,
Mm.
and when it comes to a glow up, this is a glow up. I mean,
Okay.
from top to bottom, the 5 stars, the taglines. I mean, just the giving us the love. We really appreciate it. And class, please keep leaving us reviews. We are reading them, and maybe this will become a regular spotlight segment.
A segment.
Hmm.
Here's what I want to know, Capri Mom. Is it a Capri Sun or are you wearing capris? Okay.
Or is she on the island of Capri?
Or you know what? That option number 3, door number 3.
Option
I
number 3,
hope
Capri Capri.
Capri Capri. I don't know why you did that. But it
She's
cracked me up.
drinking a Capri Sun, wearing capris on the island of Capri. 3 for 3, Capri Capri.
Capri, and listen, paprika. We're on our way. We're coming to visit you. So my little story is, I was like at a social event last night, and I have social anxiety, and
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes when I leave these things, I can't help but like run back the tape of like,
Ooh.
I talked to that person too long, and that person had back surgery,
Oh
and I
no.
hid it, and I forgot about it,
Oh
and like
no.
all the things, and I maybe drank too much, and I shouldn't have the edible, right? But like I was flipping and flipping and flipping through my head before I went to sleep last night, and out loud, I was like, you know what? I need you to stop. And we talked about this on the pod recently,
Yeah.
of like talking to that voice, right? Unless
Mm-hmm.
I was having a different conversation with somebody else, but like really anthropomorphizing the voice, right? Making
Mm-hmm.
the voice a human, and being like, I don't need you to do,
Oh, my
I don't
therapist,
need you.
my therapist encouraged me to give the voice a name. I did not give it a name, but that is a thing that people do.
Yes. It's like Lady Gaga and that meme when she goes, I said, I don't need you. All I need is whoever she was playing. You remember that clip? And Salma Hayek
No.
sitting there looking at like this bitch. Um,
No.
oh God, it's also to see. It's so funny. Gaga barely acts, but she's like waxing poetic about her process, and Salma Hayek's looking at her like, "Bitch, do you know who I am? What the fuck?" But it worked. I was able to go to bed because I was like, I got up, sat up, and I was like, "Listen, man, I don't need you. It's
Wow.
over. It's done. Let
We're
it go."
breaking up.
Yeah.
Not you went through a breakup last night, Delon.
To take my ass to bed. I'm trying to get some winks up in this bitch. And like the brain is doing flips. The hole is big. The
Oh.
brain hole.
The hole is gaping. I need her to pucker up.
Okay, Pride
Um,
Month.
oh, well, good for you. It hurts my heart to hear that for me, I think of you as like such a social butterfly. And when we're out, when we were in New York together recently, it was so fun to just like see you in your element and meeting some of my friends that you never met before and
Mm,
kikiing. And I was like, it looks like they've known each other forever. And I know they just met. So it's
mm.
wild to me to know that after those moments, you're like playing back the tape and beating yourself up. But at the same time, I'm really proud of you for being like, no, I'm going to use my logic brain. This is not serving me. I need to take my ass to bed. And I feel like that's a lesson that all of us can learn from. So that's a glow up.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've actually said this, talked about this like neuroses of mine as if it's only specific to me in
Mm,
different social contexts. And I realize a lot of people go through it in different
yeah.
ways, right? They might not be sitting up at night, like playing back the whole tape of the evening. But people do think, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Or like, I am a social butterfly. I'm able to do it, but I'm also an introvert. Like I want to be the only person breathing in the room at the end of the night. I need to shut it
Mm,
down.
mm.
Yeah, so I do hope people take that away and are able to process it, maybe use it for their own anxieties around that stuff. And if you do play back the tape class, shut that tape off, okay?
Mhm,
Because now we're
mhm.
streaming, and and we don't use VHSs anymore, okay?
All right, class, now we want to hear from you. What's the jump the shark moment that broke your TV loving heart? Or maybe you'd like to suggest a TV show, a celeb, or a brand that we should fix in a future episode? Hit us up on Instagram at FixItPod or email us lemmefixitpod@gmail.com.
And if you enjoyed this episode, you know what to do. Please be sure to give us a rating on iTunes, Spotify, or Amazon Music, like Capri Mom and Capri Capri, or on your favorite podcast app. I'm Delon.
And I'm Francesca, and this was
Let
Let
me
Me
fix
Fix
it. Your dreams are wrong, bring upon along. Why that song?
I don't know. I thought you were going to do Happy Days.
Oh, that's what the brain was trying to do that, but that song popped in my head.